And then another part is just obviously if you'll kind of ride the wave a little bit as you know as we go through the season. It's not always going to be things probably aren't going to go perfectly, and so who can you can rely on me as another resource if when things kind of hit the fan, if you will, because they probably will at some point. There'll be some sort of adversity that you'll need to go through, and so um, we can talk through some strategies too, just how to handle failure that's going to come throughout the season. That's part of why Joe's here. So Joe's going to talk to us. Joe kind of lives in the mental performance world, and so he's going to just share some insight with us tonight. We're super thankful to have him, and he'll obviously introduce himself, but we're going to give the floor over to him, and I think he wants it to be interactive. So don't be afraid to jump in and ask questions or participate if you ask for it, or throw things in the chat too if you need to, because he's obviously an expert on this and someone that we can get a lot of insight from. So it's all you, Joe.
Yeah, yeah, guys. Thanks for having me. John, appreciate you and just your words and already so much of what you said and what you've been kind of implementing on the call, guys. I think he said two things that stood out to me right away. When I hopped on, his first was like celebrating the wins. I don't think we do that enough. And so I think I clicked on this chat down here 15 or something wins already in the chat. I think as men, as athletes, as leaders, as champions, we just overlook the small wins and we keep running, 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 and we never take the time to really slow down and reflect and pause. And so that's huge. And I also liked what he said about adversity. Really good quote that says, hey, we're either going into a storm, we're coming out of a storm, or we're in the middle of a storm. And so, how can we use our resources? How can we use those around us, our peers, our teammates, our coaches, um, to really maximize the storm, maximize the battle? Because it's adversity is bound to hit. And when it hits, you can either fall flat on your face, or you can fall on a foundation that you've built, or fall on the help of your coaches, your teammates, those so on and so forth. And so, like John said, I'm Joe, and I'm pumped that I get to come on here right at the beginning of 2025, and pumped for this time frame, this timeline because of you hear so much about this idea of new year, new me. I want to change goals, dreams, aspirations, all of it heading into the new year. And so often we're just creatures of habit. We do the same thing day in, day out, the same routine, the same pitching routine, the same mindset routine, nutrition, all of it. And if we put in the same thing day in and day out, we're likely going to get the same output day in and day out. So if you do the same thing consistently that you did in 2024, you're going to get likely the same thing out in 2025. And so, how can we set new goals, set new mindsets, get 1% better every day, challenge ourselves, challenge those around us, and really just aim, like I said, to get that 1% better day in and day out. And so, we're going to talk a little bit tonight about this idea, this concept called the alter ego, which will be a help. And I want it to be interactive, and I want you guys to kind of chime in, and I'll ask some questions in the midst of it. But before I do that, I'm just going to give a quick intro just so you guys have a little bit of an idea who I am. Like I said, Joe Burton, grew up Omaha, Nebraska, went to Millard West High School, graduated in 2020, played three sports: football, basketball, track. Um, Ended up having to medically retire after my senior year, had three season-ending injuries in high school. So tore my MCL my freshman year, came back from that, ended up banging my knee up again my sophomore year. My junior year was the second season-ending injury where I tore my rotator cuff and labrum in my shoulder. That was a 12-month recovery. Told me they wasn't sure if I was going to be able to come back and play my senior year, and came back middle of the year. Actually, I think it was week one of our playoffs, playing against Lincoln Pius, tore it again, and so then it was done. And that was really in the midst of that, I realized how pivotal the mental game is. All through all three of those injuries. The first one, it was kind of a rude awakening. It was okay. What do I do? I hit a wall. I hit adversity, as John talked about. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to turn to. And so I kind of just put my head down and tried to push through. And then my junior year came, and I had that second big one. And it was really when I found out, luckily through coaches, through trainers, I could train the mental game just as much as I could the physical game. And it was vastly important and brought crazy impact on the field, off the field, personally, all of it. And so that was when I started to really do that. And I kind of learned a lot of these tips and tools and tactics that we're going to be talking about, one of them tonight. And then my senior year, again, I said I came back, re-injured it, and eventually had to call it quits. But I went up to Brookings, South Dakota for a little bit, and did stuff with South Dakota State's football team. They said I couldn't play, but I could still come up there and coach. And so I did that, and I was around some high level athletes for a while and worked in the NIL industry and got to work with Kentucky student athletes, which was really cool. And so I've just gotten to see a lot of different levels of athletes and how they implement and use the mental game, from athletes at Kentucky who are preparing to play Alabama and Georgia and Texas on Saturday, how they're trying to keep up with school and work and relationships and NIL endorsements, and also try to perform at their highest level on Saturday, right? And then even all the way down to high school and lower level colleges. And so excited to just share with you guys a little bit about one tactic, one really cool way, that we can do that we can train the mind. And so I think it's so hard sometimes to think we have to change everything overnight. We have to change everything today. Um, but one of my favorite quotes is, "Hey, it's the little things we do today that create lasting change over time." And so I know it's kind of fast, but it's the little things we do today that create lasting change over time. And so hopefully this little PowerPoint, this little interactive kind of thing we're going to do is just a little thing that you can implement, and over time, you guys will hopefully see change, change in the mental game. And so I'm gonna pull up here. Do you guys see my screen? Good. Okay. Sweet. And don't be afraid to unmute here. Just because I kind of will be asking a little bit of questions here and there. So, but like I said, this is called alter ego. So the 12-2 alter ego builder, the 12-2 is our company name. So NJ 12-2, the N and the J stand for our company values. So integrity, servant leadership, innovation, and passion. And then the 12-2 is actually a Bible verse. It's Romans 12-2. And it says, "Don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And so we can't look like the world. We can't look like the rest of the teams. We can't conform to what they're doing, because if we do the same thing that they are, we're going to get the same thing out. And a lot of this world, a lot of these teams, a lot of these athletes are okay with just being average. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to be great. I want to maximize my potential. And so it all starts up here. We so often train our muscles, we train our swing, our fielding, our pitching, whatever it is in the cage, throw bullpens, but we forget to train this muscle up here in between our ears. And so the alter ego is a way that we can, when we step onto the field, when we step into action, we, right, what it says down here is unlock our full potential. We step into a headspace where, hey, we know, I'm ready to go. I'm elite. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm cool, calm, collective, and ready to dominate. And so what this consists of, um, we'll get more into that fully. But the first question I have for you guys is, how do you show up? How would your teammates answer this question about you? Are you consistent, hit or miss, low energy, high energy, uplifting, results based? Do you team first? Do you self first? Um, I want to open it up to you guys. How would your teammates say that you show up?
Are you guys gonna make me call on somebody? Cam
No
Maloney?
Uh, my teammates would say I'm kind of results based, I think.
results based. Are you a leader? Are you loud? You quiet? Energized?
You guys can drop in the chat if you want to. That might be easy. Just one word.
There's going to be more questions too. consistent leader. All right. Calm, high energy, consistent. Okay. Consistent, collected, energized. Love it. Love it. Okay. So the reason I ask is this is often we see ourselves a lot different than what our teammates see us, or sometimes what our coaches see us as. And it's I think it's a good self-check to, hey, ask your teammates sometimes or those closest to you in your circle how they see you. Or you may think you're working hard, but from the outside eye, everybody else may think you're not, or maybe think you're kind of slacking, or bringing those down around you, or maybe you're negative and you don't realize you're negative, or you're bringing teammates down unintentionally, or you're always asking why this or why that. But there's a saying, hey, if you ask one why question, it's going to lead to a million other why questions. And so it's really important to ask those around you things like this, because it pours into this next thing that we're going to talk about is what makes a great leader. And you guys said in the chat, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time pulling up this chat. Consistent, calm, cool, collective, energized. Um, Want to keep kind of going on with that. What makes a good leader? I know some of you guys said I'm more results based. Some of you guys talked about maybe some of the things you needed to work on. When I asked that question about what makes a good leader, a voice. Okay. A voice. Anybody else? What makes a good leader?
Cody, can you expand on that? Explain what you mean.
Presence.
Yeah, I think like it's just like someone who's like always there. You know, it's like a voice that keeps you accountable, a voice that you always hear, like I guess out of the dugout. Just like a voice that you're constantly hearing and you know is like has your back and is picking you up when you just strike out or you just give up a home run, something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Presence, good teammate. Yeah, I think all those three kind of tie in. I actually love what you said when you were describing a voice. You were saying accountable. You were saying somebody who you know is there. And I think what makes a great athlete, what makes a good leader is somebody who is a servant leader, is somebody who's going to be there for their teammates, who's going to hold them accountable, who's going to call them out and hold them to a higher standard. And I think that word right there, standard, is so often we think that the standard is just showing up, or the standard is just putting in the bare minimum, or the standard is just doing what everybody else is doing. And what the 12-2 in our business is, hey, don't be conformed to the pattern of the world. And it's be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And sometimes the world standard is just showing up. And a good leader and a great athlete, like you guys said, is is about a presence, a voice, being consistent, being uplifting, a good example. And one way that we can do that is just by showing up and serving our teammates and helping them to maximize their potential. And so this the purpose of this alter ego thing that we're doing, and I asked you these questions about what makes a good leader and what makes a good teammate, and what you guys feel some good traits are, is simply to support ambitious people doing hard things, or in other words, support ambitious or hardworking athletes doing hard things. It's constructed to help you be more resilient, creative, optimistic, and courageous. And so the purpose of this alter ego is you guys are going to build out I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and you're gonna build out a kind of a persona. Like Kobe was the Black Mamba, LeBron's the King. Um, Trying to think of Giannis is the Greek Freak. Um, Gosh, I got basketball ones. Who are some baseball guys? Uh, which Trout's got to have one, or Babe Ruth was the Great Bambino, right? Give me some baseball ones. Who had an alter ego in baseball?
The examples that I always think of is like David Goggins. Like David Goggins, you got everyone knows who that crazy guy is, and his like alter ego is Goggins. Like when he goes to a dark place on his like 1,000-mile runs, he becomes a different person. Or
Yeah.
like these guys might recognize like Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer is like a psycho on the mound, but he's not a psycho in real life. But when he's on the mound, he's like screaming at hitters. I don't know if he has like a name for it, but he's just crazy. And he's got one eye that's a different color. So I think that makes him kind of scary too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's perfect. That's a perfect example. It's like when you step onto the mound, when you step into your place, your game, whatever it is, wherever you're stepping into, how do you embrace it? Embrace your gifts, talents, abilities. Because the reality is you guys are all talented. You guys all have talents, gifts. You're clearly wanting to get better and maximize those gifts. And so when Scherzer steps onto the mound, and turns into a psycho, he's really he's using it. He's going all he's 100%, 110% dialed in, locked in to the moment, to his gifts. He's where his feet are. And he's not going out lackadaisical, just kind of like throwing here, there, but he's really in it. And so that's the purpose of this alter ego is to find that person, that persona, and when you step onto the field, turn into that quote unquote psycho. And so the 5 step alter ego builder, we're going to walk through each of these questions, but it's define your desired persona. And so we kind of did this a little bit where I asked you guys to define certain steps of or certain traits of what it looks like to be a good leader, a good athlete, a good person on your team. That's step one is just define what you want to be, what you want your persona to be. Two is create an identity. So pick a name. What do you want this to be named? The King, the Black Mamba, Goggins, things like that. And it doesn't have to be like a character, quote unquote. I had one athlete, baseball player that I work with who's going to play college ball in Colorado next year. He wanted to be Captain America. And so things like that doesn't it there's no rules behind this. It's whatever's going to help you to lock in and feel that you can get to that next level. Three is a trigger. So having something, whether it's maybe you put a piece of gum in before the game and that's what unlocks your alter ego. Or maybe it's, hey, the national anthem before the game. It's that's the consistent thing that happens every game. Once that's over and they say play ball, that's when the alter ego locks in. Or maybe it's during warm-ups. You're doing XYZ in the bullpen, getting ready to come out to pitch. When you throw the fifth ball, hey, that's the trigger, I'm in. Four is step into the field of play. And so once you're on the field, you better be dialed. You better be like Scherzer, not screaming at people, but you know what I mean, just dialed. And then fifth is just fully embrace it. I think if you have all these things and you don't fully embrace it, it's like anything in life. If you don't really go, if you're kind of just 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're not really going to see the full result of it and what it can do for you. And so we're going to walk through each of these. Would love if I mean, if we want to keep typing in the chat, that's fine, but I think it makes it easier if we just shout it out. And so the example, I guess the question is the next slide, but an example would be a junkyard dog. This is actually my business partner. He plays professional hockey, and so his alter ego is junkyard dog. His is because he is kind of an old school hockey player. He's super aggressive. He does the things that nobody wants to do. He kind of just shows up, does the dirty work, and similar to a junkyard dog, it's kind of a dying breed. It's a watchdog. It's old school, and he plays kind of old school type of hockey. Aggressive, ruthless, tenacious. That's the kind of hockey player he wants to be, and that matches with the kind of the dog, the mentality. Um, and then he's a wrestler known for his finishing maneuver, headbutts, charisma, upper body strength, and he's a protector that acts on instinct. And so I think what he really like kind of got at here with the junkyard dog is these traits kind of correlate. Like, hey, when I'm out on the hockey rink, I want to be aggressive. I want to be tenacious. I want to be, hey, even though I may be considered a dying breed or may not be the cool style of hockey player that everybody wants right now, I can still go out and dominate and play to the fullest of my potential. And so another important thing to remember is hey, the junkyard dog, he's fearless, he's tenacious, he's aggressive. And so those feelings that my buddy may be feeling of playing hockey, there may be some nerves in there, there may be some things that he may not be sure of or may not be fully 100,000% confident in. But when he steps into that junkyard dog mentality, hey, guess what? The junkyard dog isn't scared. He's where his feet are. He knows he can do it. He's aggressive, he's tenacious, and he's gonna attack it no matter what. And so that's the other thing of the alter ego is, hey, Cam, Cody, Cole, Zachary, Charlie, you guys may be scared. There may be things that you're unsure of when you're walking out on the mound. But hey, when you step into your alter ego, that alter ego that doesn't have it. That's out the window because whatever alter ego you guys pick, you know that guy is dialed. He's cool, calm, collective, ready to go dominate. And so number one, the first question is define your persona. So reflect on goals and the vision of yourself. How do you want to achieve them? Specific areas. I want to be fearless, decisive, composed under pressure. Identify traits and skills you want your guy to embody. So I know we kind of briefly did it. You want to shout them out? You want to type them? I think it'd be if you guys have paper or notes or something, it'd be cool to just write this down. That way you guys have it for when you're done. But define your desired persona. What are some traits, skills, characteristics you guys want to embody? Examples would be cool, calm, collective, deadly, brave, leader, selfless, determined, strength, courage, energized, bold, flexible, love flexible, accountable, fast to serve, quick to listen. What do we got? Who's gonna be bold? Who's gonna step up and unmute the mic? Leader, confident, collective, selfless. Good. I like it. Cam, what do you got?
I think collected's a good one for me.
Collective,
Yeah.
energized, confident, cool under pressure. I know I'm putting you guys on the spot here too.
I would say mine is loud and confident.
Loud and confident. Okay. I'm gonna put you on the spot here and ask you a counter question. So loud? Explain loud for me.
I think like if you have like the confidence to be loud and like that means you don't mind to be heard. So that means like you can like take criticism, give it, you're holding yourselves and others accountable. Like you're just putting yourself out there more and in the spotlight. So you just got a certain confidence about you.
Yeah, I like it. Confident, loud. I was a loud, I would say my alter ego when I played sports in high school. I was pretty loud. I was a loud guy. I was a let's go, get the team fired up kind of guy. I don't know. I would just yell for no reason. I was the Scherzer mentality. Collected, confident, calm, composed under pressure, confident, flexible. I love the flexible one. Just because I talk about this with so many of my athletes is you never know what's going to happen. You almost have to expect the unexpected from the reason being is you can prepare all day long. You can visualize all day long. You can do everything in your control to be as ready as you can be, and then you get out there and something wild could happen. The ump could do something crazy, an injury could happen to the opposing pitcher, a pitcher who you didn't think was going to pitch might come in. Um, just you never know what's going to happen, and so we have to be flexible. I feel like great leaders are flexible and are able to kind of adjust on the fly and not let it affect them up here because they know what they're capable of. They know what they can control. And typically, what they can control is their attitude, their effort, their focus. And those are the three things. You can't control the outside circumstances, but what you can control is what's up here. And so I loved all of them. Those are good. Keep building, keep building. So this is a fun part. This is create a name. Choose a name or persona for your alter ego. These ones are kind of goofy. The warrior, the ice queen. Model your alter ego after a real person, a fictional character, or something that inspires you. Um, Drawing confidence and poise. Okay, so develop a separate identity. This is kind of you guys get to kind of do your own thing. You get to pick a name. I'll give you 30 seconds to a minute to kind of figure that out, but then I want to hear some of them. I'll kind of read off some examples, excuse me, while we do that. Was working with Nolan, so obviously Nolan, my buddy's junkyard dog. Um, the other one that was a picture on the slide didn't explain it, but Mr. Incredible, right? He worked in the office by day and then he was Mr. Incredible by night. And that was when he really got to live out his full potential. Mine, when I got to build mine out, mine was Bazooka. I was given the nickname in high school Bazooka Joe, because I was a hard hitter, and so I kind of tied some character traits to that of hey, I am going to be energized. I'm going to be flexible, bold, leader, like I'm going to have charisma in the way I play and step onto the field. And I mean, that's on the next slide, but my trigger for it was, hey, carry around a pack of bazooka bubble gum. Like, hey, pop in a thing of bazooka bubble gum and it's activate. So it's little things like that. And then we've had I know I brought up Captain America. We had a guy who was Captain America. He steps on every time the national anthem. Boom, I'm in my bag. I'm Captain America. That's it. I'm not Logan anymore. I'm Captain America. And then had another guy who just walked through this last week. He's a basketball player and he's a 3-and-D guy. He's known for his jump shot, but he's also known for his defense. And so he wanted to be the sniper. And so kind of embody we kind of twisted like the American sniper and used kind of characteristics of like, hey, cool, calm, collective, determined, resilient, integrity, and he's walking in that now. And it was cool. He called me yesterday and he said that it worked. And so he's like, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, it was just sniper mentality. It was I can't the example we used, and you guys could use this for baseball, is a lot of you, I'm sure all you guys are pitchers, right? Is that right? So how long does it take to throw a single pitch? 2 seconds? 1 second? Three? Maybe four, five with the windup. Am I wrong? Am I right? It's what,
You got it. Nailed it.
yeah. Yeah. So right around there. Okay. And so if I throw one bad pitch or two bad pitches, that's equivalent to about 10 seconds, give or take. How long is a game? A game is probably 2 hours, right around there. And so if I have two bad pitches, even three bad pitches, that's 15 seconds. Am I going to let 15 seconds derail the whole 2 hours? Am I going to let 15 seconds of maybe poor focus by me or just poor placement or maybe even a bad call derail the rest of the 2 hours of the game? And so I think that's a mindset that you can embody too with the persona is, hey, I'm not stepping into this identity of the sniper or Captain America, whatever you guys want to be, is hey, they're not going to let that 15 seconds or that one bad pitch derail the next 40, 50, 60 pitches that you throw. It's hey, flush, forget mentality and move on. And so kind of got off on a little tangent there, but what are some names? Some names you guys got? I gave you way longer to think.
Big Poppy.
Big Poppy. Okay. Big Poppy. What else? Cam, you're getting picked on just because you're the only one who's got your camera on.
I kind of thought of the Joker.
The Joker. Okay.
Oh, that is perfect for you, actually. A little crafty lefty. Cam Curtis, I think that's you in there. What are you?
What else? What
There's
else?
only one Cameron. Sam Dolphins, you have to have one. Cam, throw it in the chat. That's not an excuse. Spider-Man, okay.
Well, let me
Because you're
unmute.
pulling that change up. That's why I got it. Because you pull the string on the change up.
I'm gonna pick on Michael. Michael, you in here?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm pretty slender dude. Some of my guys on the team call me Slim.
Slim. Okay. I like it. I like it. And these can be, yeah, I mean, they can be fun, they can be funny, they can be, I mean, whatever it is that makes you to snap into it.
I'll
Um,
share mine. So I was when I was in high school or when I was playing, everyone called me the captain. And so my persona was decisive, confident, servant, and resilient. And so I thought that actually kind of fit. And then now, actually, like some of my coaching friends call me the professor, which, 4-2 pitching academy. I'm a teacher, servant, the calm, cool, collected professor, pretty cerebral. And if anyone who's played for me would, that's kind of how I am. I kind of just don't ride. I just kind of ride the wave. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Pretty calm.
yeah, that's good. That's good. There's truth in that too, guys. Not getting too high, not getting too low. I mean, I'll come back. Hopefully John will have me back on here and there's another thing that we can talk about of just this concept. I mean, everybody talks about riding the wave and not getting too high, not getting too low, but there's truth in that. And that's one of my favorite things to tackle and dive into. But love it. Love the names. Nobody wants to be the Ice Queen. We sure? No? No? Okay. Okay. Good. Just making sure. Just making sure. Okay. Here's another fun one. The trigger. What is the trigger for you guys? And select an item that symbolizes your alter ego. A pair of sunglasses, a bracelet. Maybe it's a specific outfit. Um, so the example that this roots from is from a book, and this author talked about how every time he put on his glasses, he felt like he was more in, like he belonged more, or he had more confidence, or he had more the ability to do things that maybe he didn't feel like people thought he could do. But when he put on the glasses, he felt like people respected him more. And so how do you step into your alter ego? How do you step into Slim? How do you step into Spider-Man? How do you step into the Joker most effectively? I know one guy who I did this with as well picked what's the guy's name? Frozone from Incredibles, and he actually bought a pair of the glasses, like the straight lens glasses that Frozone wears. And so he's like, okay, when I put these on, I'm him. I'm that dude. And so what's a trigger? What's a trigger that you guys think would be? I know I said mine was gum. That bazooka bubble gum to lock in for Bazooka Joe. Nolan, he even sometimes watches like the Junkyard Dog like wrestling entrance, or this is pretty brutal, but like Junkyard Dogs like protecting like the like almost like attacks, like protecting their territory. Um, just to like lock in, dial in.
To give you guys like a pitching example, like I was always a reliever basically in college. And so I started a little bit during the summers, but at school I was a reliever. And so for me, it was kind of like the fifth inning because I knew like I was probably going in seventh, eighth, or ninth. So it took me the fifth to kind of start to get my mind right. And so every fifth inning we'd go walk down to the bullpen, and that was my trigger of like, hey, it's go time for me.
Yeah, or even like I'm thinking about another maybe baseball example is who watched Gladiator, like the new Gladiator movie or the old one, or who's seen it?
Yep.
So what about when oh my gosh, totally blanking on the name. Maximus and his son um pick up the dirt in their like hands and they just like kind of like go like this and the dirt falls through, right? That's when he like knows is like, oh, it's game over, like done. Maximus, Lucius, it's done. Like they just locked in. And so even I think about, hey, John walking to the bullpen in the fifth inning, maybe before he steps in, he just grabs a little bit of dirt, rubs it in his fingers, and he's like, okay, I'm in. I'm locked. Just gets it's flips your mind. Like it's especially being a pitcher. Like I was never a pitcher, but I had a lot of friends who played at a high level and even still play at a high level in college and the pros. And one of them talks about plays in the Tigers organization is what sets him apart is physically he's not the most gifted guy, and he'll straight up tell you that all day long. But he says mentally He just knows how to prepare himself and be where his feet are. And when things do arise, when things do happen, like John talks about facing adversity, he knows how to like flip that switch in his head to, hey, not let the 15 seconds, like we talked about, when you throw a bad pitch, affect the whole 2 hours, affect the whole game. And so that's part of what this trigger is too is, hey, baseball's a long game. It's kind of it can be a fast-paced game, but sometimes it's a little bit slower. It's pitches, it can be dragged out. And so in the midst of that, if you're kind of waiting, pitching's different too. I had a couple buddies who were POs at UNO, and so they're sitting for a while. And then when they're like, all right, you're in, go to the bullpen, go warm up. It's like, okay, how do you lock in now? And so that could be your trigger is when you get up, walk to the bullpen, you got something that you pick up or something you grab out of your bag. Maybe it's a piece of gum you throw in or a wristband you throw on. Um, that's your trigger. And then last but not least is just step into it. Kind of touched on this briefly at the very beginning, but it's, hey, kind of create that routine, that ritual, that transition, leave the doubts, insecurities, distractions outside the field of play. And so, like I talked about with the junkyard dog, or really with any of your guys' alter egos, is you personally, Cody, Michael, Zachary, Charlie, Caden, Sam, August, Brady, Grayson, just throwing out some of your guys' names, you may be feeling the pressure. You may be feeling the insecurity or the distractions or the doubts or whatever it may be that's kind of getting to your head that allows you to not play at the highest of your abilities. But when you step into your alter ego doesn't feel that because your alter ego is a freaking beast. Like you think Spider-Man was swinging from buildings, having doubts that he wasn't going to make it to the next building or that he wasn't going to save the world, or Joker was, I don't know what was going through Joker's head, but you guys get it. These are alter egos or characters that don't have these things that they have to carry with them. When you step into the field of play, all that stuff goes away when you step into this alter ego and you can walk fully in your talents, the gifts, the abilities that you have confidently. And so it's huge though to really step into it and mentally shift because like anything, if you give 50%, you're going to get 50% out. What you put into it, you're going to get out. And so if you're again, it's just that same idea, that same concept in different words. If you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're not going to get as much out of it as the guy who's 110% into it. And so really stepping into the field of play. And so I don't know why it went back, but any questions on the alter ego? No? Okay. Okay. And then, but yeah, again, I think there's so much good that, sorry, I'm sharing my screen and now it's being all funky with me. There we go. We good here?
I might
Keep,
add one thing.
yeah, what do you got?
Just speaking. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me? Just
Yeah.
speaking from experience on a little bit of this is I think it's important that you find an alter ego um that fits you and not just like don't be Max Scherzer just because Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer, if that makes sense. So like that was something that I really struggled with is I thought that I had to be someone that I wasn't or that didn't fit me. And so um the worst that I ever pitched was when I was trying to be like this super over aggressive, basically trying to be Max Scherzer. And that wasn't when I pitched at my best. I pitched my best when I was very aggressive, but calm, like a calm, quiet confidence. Like that was more of my vibe on the mound rather than screaming and yelling at everybody. Like I was very intense, but it wasn't Max Scherzer. You know, if you think of like Max Scherzer's one end of the spectrum, Corey Kluber's the other. Okay, they're both very good, but one guy is kind of a calm, quiet aggressiveness. One guy is very loud and outspoken aggressiveness, and they both it works for both of them. And so you have to kind of figure out, which one you need to be to perform at your best. That's probably my biggest piece of advice on it. Because if you try to be the other guy and that's not you, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, 1000%. I think what works for some doesn't work for, kind of just to reiterate what you just said, works for some, what doesn't work for you works for others. And so Charlie, what works for Cam might not work for you. Brady, what works for August may not work for you. And so as John said, hey, what does work for you? What are your gifts? What are your talents? What makes you the pitcher that you are? And then walk in that. Work on those things, hone in those skills, those talents, and trust it up here. Like, so often I don't think we trust our abilities enough. Like, I think we're our own biggest critic. We're so hard on ourselves. We get done with a game, and or if you're anything like me, you remember in football, would remember the three missed tackles I had in a game where I had two rushing touchdowns and an interception or something like that. And it's like I'm dogging on the hard, or what I messed up on. And so we're our own biggest critic, and so we have to learn to understand what we're good at and affirm ourselves. Self-talk is huge. What are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself? Because again, what you put in is likely what you're going to get out. So if you're telling yourself you're a bad pitcher, you're likely going to get bad pitcher out. And so there was a question: how do I become the leader when you're the underdog? Um, Like, I love that question, actually. I feel like I kind of played the underdog mentality um, a lot of my life. So I was always undersized in from a sports standpoint, and so I was always having to battle to kind of to get my playing time, to get on the field, to get on the court, to really get the attention. And so to answer that question, I would just say show up, be consistent. One thing that I talked about here, even in the PowerPoint, was being a servant leader. How do I serve my teammates well? How do I show up for them? How do I bring the same attitude, effort, focus every single day, day in and day out, to where, hey, when I show up, they know exactly what they're getting. They know the player that they're going to get. They know the focus that they're going to get, the effort that they're going to get, and people will in due time respect that. People aren't always gonna your talent's only gonna get you so far. You're gonna get to a point where, hey, maybe you have all the talent in the world, but then adversity hits or adversity strikes, or maybe, hey, injury happens, and then what? If you're not a good teammate, if you're not a good leader, if you're not showing up every day, still having the same attitude, effort, focus, um, people are going to notice that. They're going to see that, and those aren't good traits of a leader. And I have a couple stories that come to my mind right away. One of my buddies at K State, he plays baseball up there, and he had two season-ending injuries and one going into college. And we have a YouTube channel, so if you want to go check out this video, he talked about it, about how in the midst of being an underdog, kind of being an incoming freshman, battling injury, one thing that he learned was, hey, I still want to be a leader, but I need to show up every day and kind of just be the same, like, presence, be an encouraging presence, an energizing presence, be willing to go out of my way and do the things that, hey, I can't do physically right now because I'm hurt, but I can still serve my teammates. I can still kind of help out around the bullpens, or I can help out around the dugout, and just kind of do my way, pull my end to serve. We always say, Nolan's my business partner again. We always say, hey, allow your character to take you one level higher. And so often that's going to be a huge dividends in not only leadership, but also as you go in athletics. And so you may be a reserve level player. Okay, that's fine. Allow your character to take you to JV. You may be a JV level player. Okay, allow your character and your leadership, your attitude, effort, and focus to take you to varsity. Maybe you get to the college level and you're not starting yet, or maybe talent wise you're just kind of you're middle of the pack. Well, okay, we'll let your talent, or your character, excuse me, take you to the next level. Allow your character, the way you show up, you prepare, your attitude, the way you are a teammate to others, that'll ultimately take you to the next level and get you further. And so I think there's so many routes to go with that question when you're the underdog. Everybody loves a good underdog story, and but I think just showing up, being consistent, serving your teammates, and control the controllables, attitude, effort, focus, and then up here, just be up here, be present up here. Okay. Any other questions?
Joe, if they were to have a question, how could they get a hold of you if they needed to?
Yes, that was what I was going to end with. So, NJ, you can go follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and I mean, we're on Facebook, but I know you guys don't use Facebook. So, Instagram and Twitter, NJ122 Training. You should just search it up and you should be able to find it. I'm going to drop in the chat really quick, my phone number and email. I know you guys probably don't like email either, but I'll drop it in there. Um, sorry, let me double check this. And I'm going to drop those in there. And if you do have any questions about anything alter ego related, about the mental side of the game, whatever it may be, feel free to shoot me a text, shoot me an email. And then I also wanted to say, sorry, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. It's not working. But I also wanted to say, since you guys respect you guys so much for even hopping on here on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock. I know there's a heck of a football game going on right now, battle for the 1 seed in the NFC, and that's exactly what this means. This 12-2 in our logo is, hey, don't conform to the pattern of the world. The world says, hey, just chill. It's a Sunday night. You don't need to get any better. You've already done enough work. Just go watch the football game, right? But no, we are getting 1% better. We're taking a step today. We're doing the little things today that are going to create lasting change over time, and we're renewing our mind. We're getting better. And so with that, I wanted to gift you guys, message me on our social media, on text, email, whatever. If you guys are interested, I'll do free for a call with you guys for free, just so you guys can kind of get a feel for what it is that we do at NJ122, and just really kind of break down more of the mental game, what you feel like you struggle with, what you feel like you're good at. If you have questions, uh, we can continue to build on the alter ego, or we can also work on um, other tactics, other things. So would love to gift you guys with that and just let you know how much I respect all of you for hopping on and doing this. It's huge. It's not normal. So you guys are for sure um, getting 1% better day in, day out. Love it.
Don't worry, they're all watching. Wrong screen.
Oh,
They're
so
all
that was
watching the
why you
game
guys
and
wouldn't unmute
on
the camera, huh?
behind their screen. That's how it goes. We do yoga on Sundays, and I know they're all watching football. That's why all their screens are off. So
No, no. Yeah, at least you're on listening. I love it. I love it though. Like even if you are watching football, like I mean, you're here.
exactly. So all right, well, fellas, first of all, we just thank you, Joe, for hopping on. Because
Oh,
obviously you
cool
have to
on.
take time out of your busy schedule to join us. So we're super thankful just for sharing your insight. I mean, I wrote down a whole page of notes. So yeah, it was really, really, really good stuff. So we appreciate it. And I know these guys will take something from it. And there's things that like I said, I'm gonna take things from it. It made me better. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.